Hey guys, it's Jack and welcome to episode, I think it must be like 44, maybe 45, I can never remember these days. I took a little break off from the podcast as it's been like an interesting 3 weeks. Obviously we had Busting Up last weekend. I'm doing this one even a little bit late. But today I'm actually doing like a full drunken barbell. Hold on, listen to this. Today is sponsored by Miller's Hard Cider. No, not Miller's. Mercury Hard Cider. I'm already too deep. I thought I'd do like an actual full-on drunken barbell podcast today. I haven't had a drink on one of these in a while. So, but today I'm going to be reviewing the Busting Up, the Novice competition that happened a couple of weeks ago. We had 7 lifters in. And it's another reason why it's been an interesting year, because we've just got so many people who are eager and willing to compete that for the first time ever I'm having to say to people, maybe not yet, like you're not ready right now. And it shows positive growth within Blackdam and the lifters that we're bringing through. And I like every time I compete, whether it's myself or as a coach, I learn a lot, and I get more nervous with novice lifters than I do with any of my what I call like sanctioned lifters, people with a little bit more experience in competition, because novice lifters, and I will say novice because they compete in a novice competition, always tend to make they're always more prone to making silly mistakes, so it's like and it can cost them lifts on the day. But we done all right on the day. We done all right at Busting Up. We had 7 lifters, which I believe is the most lifters I've ever had in a competition, which is great. So that was another record ticked off. And so far we've already had, I think we've only had 2 competitions so far this year. Yeah, 2 competitions. We had States in April, and then we just had Busting Up, and then I've got another one this weekend, Capo States, and then we got GPC Nationals. Then I'm pretty sure we're doing Capo States, and then I've got Pretty and Powerful after that, and then I think there's another competition sliding in, and now I've got a couple of people asking about competing at the end of the year, and then I think I'll do a push-pull at the end of the year where I fucking kick Jaden's ass at bench press, and it's still going on. I still don't think he's as involved in it as I am, but we'll see. But anyway, let me get back on track. So we had 7 lifters, right? And we had 1 female in it, and that was Juicy Joe's. And I won't go through the individual attempts and all that and the individual lifters. I've done that in the past. I thought I'll kind of switch it up and do like an overview. But Josie totaled 282.5 kilos. We both know that she wanted the 300. And on the day it was there, but what I'll talk about in a minute is when nerves get in the way of you hitting attempts. We then had from kind of lowest to highest, we had Nathan, who totaled 392.5 kilos. He's only been training powerlifting for about 6 months. Then we had Tristan, 442.5. Yet that it was John Boy, 452.5. And good thing about John, I fucking love the fact that John competes, because he's an old cunt and he's like 46 going on 47, and he probably had a 200 kilo deadlift in him on the day. He pulled 190, and he definitely had 200 in him. We just opened super low because in the gym 190 looked like an opener. But then he hit fucking 190 like it was 60 kilos. Sorry, he hit 160 like it was 60 kilos, and even the 190 looked fucking easy. So sort your shit out, John, when you listen to this. So John hit 452.5. We then had Mitch, who went 525, and Mitch squatted his first 200 kilos, which was good. We then had Otto, this was his first time competing, 535, and then Matt, this was his first time competing at 572.5. So out of these 7 people, we had 3 freshies, and when I say freshies, they're like their first competitions, and then we had 2 people, it was their second competition, and then the other 2, it was their third competition. So these people are still relatively fresh and novice into the powerlifting scene. And the overview of the day, like we didn't get any medals, unfortunately. We didn't get any podiums, but there were some people there. Like, and this bugs me. I've got to talk about this because this really bugs the fuck out of me. When I get it, right? You're a novice in powerlifting because you've never done a competition before. But don't fucking like, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, the word is like black hole it or whatever they call it, by coming in and like squatting 300 odd kilos or deadlifting into the 300s and shit like that, and deadlifting close to 300 and squatting in the mid 200s. Like, just because you have never done a competition before doesn't give you the right to go into a novice competition and fucking fling your dick around because you can hit those big numbers. Like, it's impressive to see, I get it, but in my opinion, and in my most politest way, fuck off to a sanctioned competition. Like, that's where you should be. With those kind of numbers, you should be doing that. And if you're going into a novice competition and you, like, for example, can't squat to depth, or you know, you're making these stupid mistakes, then that just comes from your prep. That doesn't come from competition. Do you know what I mean? Like, the only difference between a sanctioned comp and a novice competition is the competition that you're competing against. The judging is probably a little bit harsher, although on the day there were some fucking cunty calls by some of the refs. I shouldn't actually be that harsh. This is what I'm like with fucking two-siders deep onto me dad. They're not like novice judges. They're not GPC refs, so I can't say like that. I can't badger them personally. But there were some bad calls on the day. But the reffing in sanctioned competitions is a lot more strict. But in my opinion, and I'm a bit biased as well, I suppose, because when I first got into competing in powerlifting, I'd never done a novice. Like, I was flung straight into GPC state titles. So that's all I've known. But I kind of look at it from like being a coach, looking at it, I'm going, literally the only difference is the level of competition, the level of judging. They do it off body, like you get categories based off your body weight, and that's really it. So in all honesty, you could be experienced in lifting but not competing, but it still doesn't give you the right to go in and do a novice competition if those are the numbers that you're hitting. Like, if you're totaling over 600 kilos, you shouldn't be in a novice competition. You just shouldn't be. You know, you're not novice. You might be novice to competing, but you'll be novice competing regardless if you go into a fucking novice competition or a sanctioned. The only way you get out of being a novice is by competing more. And how do you know when you're not a novice anymore? Like, how do you can't really measure that. How do I know that I'm not a novice at the moment? What, because I've done 7 competitions or maybe more? What about if I did 7 competitions but I bombed them all out because I didn't hit my squat, like depth on squat? Then am I still novice? Do you know what I mean? What about if I've done 7 competitions but I've only gone from a 300 kilo total to a 320? Does that mean I'm still novice? Do you know, so that kind of pissed me off, and I haven't even thought about it until I started speaking on the podcast. But yeah, me personally, if you are someone who totals over 600 kilos, get out of the novice, get into the sanctioned competition. And if you don't know all about your calls and stuff like that, well, then that's your fault in your training prep, not from a competition standpoint. But let's move on. I'm always proud of my lifters, you know. I see the reason why I get so proud of my lifters is because I see how much effort they put in. Like some of the people here, like Josie, John Boy, Nathan, Matt, like these people, and that's out of all of them. But like, I remember just those people. They never missed a session. They never missed a session at all. And but even all 7 of them, like when they're in the gym, they're working their asses off. You know what I mean? And when they don't hit the totals that they want, I get just as like affected, I suppose, emotionally as they do, because I want them to hit their numbers, and I want to see some fucking medals, and I want to see the last, 6 months of hard work put to hitting new personal PBs and winning those medals and podiuming. But stuff just happens on the day, you know. And the first one that I want to talk about is the first lesson for beginners is lifts in the gym do not guarantee lifts on comp day. And that's kind of what I saw in the gym and on comp. Is you can have a great prep, and most of these people had a great prep. There was a couple who missed sessions and in my opinion were a little bit lazy in their prep, and you know, missed out on a lot of work before they're peaking. But the ones who didn't, the ones who hit their training sessions every single week, didn't miss a session, had a great peak, looked fucking great in the gym, like boom, like, you know, they're hitting their openers for like 3 singles, they're fucking smashing them. They feel rest and recovered, and then on comp day it's just not there, not because they're not strong enough, but because of things like nerves getting in the way. And I'm going to talk about nerves in a second, but you just have to understand that what you do in the gym cannot be guaranteed to what you'll do on comp day, because you know, in comp you're squatting, benching and deadlifting all in the same day. Versus in the gym, you know, you hit your deadlift openers 2 weeks out, for example, you hit your squat openers like a week and a bit out, and then I personally like to get my lifters to hit their bench openers the week of competition, and then it's just either completely deload from there or a couple of little, a squat and a deadlift session, maybe on a Wednesday, very, very light just for movement. You can do all of that, but you've then got to combine all of that into one day. So you have to think about, you know, like mental fatigue. You know, you get a for people that don't know, you get a competition at like 8:30 in the morning, and you're not leaving till between 4 and 5. And although you only get 9 lifts, you probably literally lift for like your max efforts for probably 5 minutes of the whole fucking day. 5 to maybe 10 minutes of the whole fucking day. You know, you're still in the environment, you're still walking around, you're still moving, like it's very, very taxing. So for new lifters who are thinking about competing and thinking about the numbers that they want to hit, like this is where it comes from, you know, in my opinion, moving out of that novice into more intermediate or experienced lifters, is to get more competitions under your belt and understand how you roll on the day, understand that what you hit in the gym might not be, you know, there on competition day, because there's so many different factors coming into play. But you know, for a couple of my lifters, lifts that they hit in the gym was so guaranteed on the day that we thought, but then they missed them on the day for no other reason, well, a couple of reasons, like maybe fatigue crept in, and nerves, and that's my second point, is when you're like on the day, and if you've ever competed in powerlifting, like I always feel nervous on the day. If you're not nervous, then if you're not nervous, then you really shouldn't be at the competition. But I had one lifter called Otto, right? Now, Otto's a funny guy, real happy-go-lucky sort of fella. And you know, the day before comp, the week leading into comp and the weeks prior, he was like, yeah, like I'm fine, I'm feeling good. And then on the day, holy fuck was he nervous, so fucking nervous. And I'm like, okay, right, I expected this. Normally the people who are just like completely not nervous at all, you know, leading into competition, I'm like, you're gonna be really, really fucking nervous on the day, because it's gonna hit you like, you don't know how hard it's gonna hit you, and then when it does hit you, you're like, holy fuck, I'm not ready for this. So Otto was super nervous on the day, and if you are that nervous, expect to open light. And it's really funny, and if I don't think Otto listens to the podcast, but if he ever does, and for any of my lifters, tell him to listen to this, is he actually went, he hit the most lifts on the day. I think he went 7 out of 9, and he hit all of his squats. And Otto has this thing where he likes to fucking pause his squats, no matter what you give him. He just pauses it, and he pause squatted I think 210 on a day, like, and it was wild, because it moved not even like an opener, like something round the back before you hit your opener. But I think we opened up about 190, and he hit 190, and he was like, you know, super fucking nervous walking up, you know, gets his squat command, pauses the fucking 190 and moves it like it's nothing. Like, this dude's just farm boy strong. And then I move them up to 200 because, you know, as a coach, you're like, do you know what, like, it moves well, but you just never know with you know, novice lifters who have never really felt that weight. So we took a second of 200, which was a 5 kilo PB for him anyway. So he's already in PB realms, smashes it, boom. Comes out for the third, still pretty nervous at this point. And then I give him 210, fucking pauses it and just moves it like it's nothing, as I said before. And he walks up to me, he's like, fuck man, I'm so fucking annoyed that was so light. I wish like I was given something that, you know, could have tested me. And I remember speaking to him on the, like, there and then, and a couple of more times throughout the day. And I'll talk about deadlifts in a second because that was fucking funny. You know, if you're going to be that nervous on the day, you must expect to open light, because the last thing you want is to walk up nervous to a barbell. You know, squats is always your opening lift. So you walk up to your squats. Last thing you want is to unrack it and it feel like 1,000 fucking kilos on your back. And then you're like, oh my God, now I've got to squat this and I'm super nervous. And now all I'm thinking about is how heavy it is. I forget to brace, I forget to squat to depth, and then you miss your opener. You know what I mean? Then you're like, then you're already fucking in the deep end. Then you get more nervous and you start to just crumble from there on in. So, but that's why, if you know you're going to be nervous on comp day, or if you're a coach listening to this and you know you're going to get a super nervous lifter, open them light. Open them light, and if they walk out afterwards going, fucking I wish I had, like, you know, more weight on the bar, then in your head you're going, well, that's fine, because we can always do another competition, because there always is another competition. And you just explain to them and say, well, on comp day, you can't be rocking up this fucking nervous. You know what it's going to be now. We can definitely open higher next time, but this is a cool lesson learned. Like, you went 3 from 3, whatever it was, and you're no longer nervous. But if you are a nervous lifter, it's something that I learned with people like Otto. So I was like, I'm just going to open this motherfucker super light for him, really, really light, and just get him on the board, because your first attempt is always the one that should just get you on the board, right? Like, no one cares about your first attempt, really. It should be something that you just, in my opinion, and this is what I always do with myself and my lifters, I want their attempt to be like in and out, and then walking out thinking, fuck yeah, that was so light, like that was so easy. Give me my 1 rep max, or give me, you know, just a little bit above my 1 rep max. Like, I'm ready for this. So then you walk out for your second attempt and you're super confident in yourself and you can hit it. But also, you've completely avoided the ability to now bomb out on the day, which I'm going to lead into. If you are, like, you can be nervous on comp day, this is going to roll over. You can be nervous on comp day, but you have to have that switch to get yourself in the zone before you walk into onto the platform. And this is a great example from Juicy Joe's. Me and Josie get our house on fire, get on super well, we think the same, big overthinkers, you know what I mean? But on the day, Josie was almost my first lifter to bomb out. And people will sit there and probably think, oh my God, that girl must be so nervous, she's missed her 2 openers, and if she misses the next one, like, she's out of the competition. No one thinks about the fucking coach who's sitting there going, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like, I look like an amateur right now because my lifters missed their first two attempts, and, you know, she's almost going to bomb out. You know, is she going to blame me for this? I'm going to blame me for this. And like, this is just fucked. And, you know, the funny thing about it was, Juicy had hit 105, like, she opened at 105 at comp, and she had hit 105 like 5 times leading into competition, because she's someone who just has to check, recheck, and then check again. You know, just to make sure, not even just to double make sure, to like 9 times making fucking sure that the thing's there. And it cracks me up. So we knew she could hit 105 on a day. Like, she was strong enough. The 105s were fucking flying in the gym. Comes back to the first point that I said before about, you know, don't always think what happens in the gym happens on comp day. But we gave her 105. I was super confident that she could hit it. What I didn't expect was how much pressure she would put on herself, and the amount of nerves that would come from that. And it's just and I hate to use this word or this phrase, like, perfect example of when a lifter gets in their head too much on comp day, and it really can not spoil, but just piss you off. Like I could just see she was so pissed off on the day after hitting those, missing those first two openers of 105, because she just knew she had it. She was that annoyed. It did, like, you know, you sitting there listening now, picture the last time when you knew you could do something, like you knew you could do it with your eyes closed, even on a bad day, and you just can't get it, and you're like, you're so fucking angry at yourself. And I can see it in her, and there's not much you can do as a coach, because the last thing you want to do is their emotions are like heightened. Josie was so pissed off and wound up, and her emotions are like peaking, right? They're like 110 out of 10. And there's not really much you can say or do, because you can't go out there and lift it for them. I mean, there was a photo actually on that was taken in Busting Up with me and Josie having this really serious conversation. I was like, just need to see some fucking guts from you. Like, get out there and just do what you know you can do. And after that, I had to leave her alone, because there's no point, like, me being in her face is going to get her more worked up. That's why, as a coach, you've got to be careful not to make your lifters even more nervous by getting in their face and be like, it's right, do you need anything to do? Because most of the time, if I picture myself when I'm lifting and I miss an attempt, I just want to be left alone. Like, don't fucking talk to me, because I just need to get ready for my next one, because I just missed it. I need to get ready, I need to get it out of my head, and you being there is not helping me, because I can't just come to terms with the fucking thing that I've just done. I just need to sit there, get a little bit pissed off with myself, understand that it just happened, and then think about my next attempt, which I've got to smash. And that was the case with Josie. And you know, it was honestly, I don't want to say that she would have missed her third attempt, because she blew it out of the, like, you know, she walked up to her third and she absolutely just, like, it looked like an opener, as an opener should, right? It wasn't even me who calmed Josie down. It was actually Jax. Me with my personality, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and I'm getting better at dealing with anxious people, because I'm just like a bull in a fucking china shop sometimes. And when you get with someone like that and with an anxious person, it's not great. But Jax knew how to deal with it. Now, here is my best advice based off experience if you're a nervous lifter. First thing, get some fucking chewing gum, right? Josie was sitting there super nervous and wound up, and Jax walks over and she was like, have this chewing gum. And Josie was like, no, I'm okay. She was like, have the chewing gum. It's like, I remember Jack speaking about it before, you know, people who are anxious, you know, that you get that emotional anxiety, it turns to physical anxiety as well, like the trembles and stuff like that. Chewing gum has been shown to reduce that, like to reduce anxiety. So Josie took one. I fucking had my hand in that bottle within about half a second after she took it out, getting one as well, chewing down on it. And like, I was actually like, honestly, the best way I can describe it is it kind of, chewing on the chewing gum, for me, you can't say for Joe's, but chewing on that just kind of calmed my brain down and took my thoughts away from the fact that my lifter had almost just bombed out. But then what Jack's also done, and I'll let her discuss, she'll probably be on the podcast, you know, fucking sometime in the future, but she sat there with Joyce, and I remember they were kind of like holding hands, not in a lesbo way, but in like a, could have been a lesbo way actually, wouldn't mind that, but anyway, holding hands. And I remember Jax was like, just give me your anxiety, like, and Jax is all into the spiritual side of things, and more power to it, because it fucking worked to that on comp day. And I just remember Josie, you know, those two were just together after that. For between the second and third attempt, Josie's chewing on her fucking chewing gum. You know, they had their little hand holding thing, which, you know, I'll let Jax explain, because I'll absolutely butcher it, but I know it was between like Josie giving anxiety and Jax giving power to her, or strength, something along those lines. And then those two were just standing right next to each other. They didn't need to say anything to each other. You could just see Josie looked really fucking calm after that, and I was like, cool, don't need to interrupt that shit. She can just go on, do her thing. And then what do you know? Boom, she hits her third attempt like a fucking opener. It comes down to that thing where you can be nervous on comp day, but make sure you know how to switch on. And that might be chewing on chewing gum to get rid of anxiety. It might just be standing around someone who reduces your anxiety, because they don't need to say anything to you, just their presence makes you feel a little bit calm. And then when you need to switch on, you have to find that switch for you. I don't actually know too many of my lifters' triggers. For some people, it's like a slap on the back. I know for, like, me and Jax know each other very well from lifting. I know she does this, like, from people who are watching on YouTube, because this will be up on YouTube as well. She does this little hand thing where she slaps the inside of her hands. For me, my trigger is, I only really have one for deadlifts. It's like watching Stone Cold Steve Austin on YouTube and just getting super fucking pumped up. For bench press, I don't need anything. For squats, I know I need to remain super calm. And I don't actually know if I explained this on a podcast, but the way I see anxiety, this is super nerdy by the way. You know, everyone's watched Thor. Surely everyone's watched Thor who's listening to this. And you know the ether, like that weird little red sludge, right? That's what I see as like chaos and anxiety and everything that you don't want, but it's going on inside of your body. And picture it as just shooting around your body, you know, at like light speed. It's just shooting all around you, and that will cause you a fuckload of anxiety. This is the way that I picture it, and this is what I did at States, because I learned a good lesson back in 2020 in my last competition. I can never remember the name of the fucking competition. Blackdam Valhalla maybe? Can't remember. Like, I got myself that worked up. That ether was just shooting all around me like light speed. It was just, and it made me miss attempts because I didn't focus on what I needed to do on the platform. Now, once I realized that, and I actually realized this while I was in a float tank, only literally maybe 6 weeks out from competition, I put it in a fucking, what did I put it in? What's it called? Not a washing machine, tumble dryer. I put the thing in a tumble dryer. But the funny thing about a tumble dryer, and people are gonna think this is ridiculous, but it fucking works, trust me. Well, it works for me anyway. Put it in a little tumble dryer because it's contained, and I can get it to spin in the direction that I want it to. So whenever I'd walk up to a platform, I would sit there and I can feel this thing inside of me, like, you know, that adrenaline and the like anxiety and the excitement and all of these things, and I can feel it shooting all over the place. When I'm walking up for squats, especially for squatting, because I need to be very intentful when squatting, I start to get the feeling of it just circulating, just kind of in like the sternum to my guts, and I can feel it, and I can feel it just circling round and round. But I picture it inside of like as if I'm looking into like a washing machine or a tumble dryer, and it's just spinning, and I've got it contained, and I can keep it there. And it keeps me very calm. What it kind of does is it keeps my attention off what's being loaded on the barbell. I suppose that's kind of what it is. It keeps my attention off the, fuck, I've got to walk up and lift that damn thing when you've seen all those red plates on there. And that's what I do to keep calm. I don't really do anything for the bench press. Bench is just a fucking good opportunity to lie down to competition. You just have to like lift the fucking thing. But then for deadlifts, I get Stone Cold Steve Austin going, but I never get myself worked up anymore. But you have to be someone who can find that switch, whatever it might be. And it can literally change from lift to lift. It doesn't have to be the same thing for each lift, but you've got to find out what it is. Otherwise, if you let nervousness get on top of you, and the fact that you've got all these people watching you, and you know that, you know, for the last 6 months you've been working your ass off, and you only get, you know, 3 attempts to prove your worth, and you know, you hang a lot of you, like powerlifters, people who compete, hang a lot of their self-worth off what they lift on the comp day. They don't want to train for fucking 6 months and then fuck it all up, because they're like, Jesus Christ, like that's a lot of fucking effort. And you know, if you hit it, then you're top of the fucking world, and you feel amazing when you do it, and you're like, fuck yeah. Like, I love being able to tell people I lift 300. I love being able to rub it in Big Jack's face that he can't fucking lift 300. I know he's going to be listening to this, so suck it, Jack. You need to have that way, and whatever it might be for you, before you walk out on the platform, you could be nervous as fuck standing next to that chalk bowl, but you do whatever it is that you do, and as soon as you grab that bar, boom, or you're walking up to that barbell, boom, you are on. Like, you're just going in there to just deliver the result of completing the lift with getting 2 or 3 white lights and completing the attempt. Done. So be nervous on comp day, just know when to fucking switch on. If you are nervous on comp day, you're super nervous on comp day, expect open low, or just make sure that you do open low so you don't fucking bomb out and become a dickhead. And then just another point on that, like as I'm rolling through, or the next point is, if you miss a lift, accept it as just that. Right? How many lifts have you failed in the gym, whether it's squat, bench, or deadlift? Couple, right? I'm not going to say heaps, but I'm going to say a couple. I've missed maybe 2 squats in the gym. I've probably failed maybe up to 5 bench presses in the gym, and we're talking like maximal weight here, or something around like a 2 to 3 reps, no more than 3 reps. And I've missed a couple of deadlifts from like lockout. Like, you're a little bit annoyed, but you just see it as that. Like, you're just like, cool, I just missed a heavy weight. And I remember speaking to Thomas Lilly on a couple of my episodes ago, and that's how the top lifters deal with failure, right, or failing an attempt, is they just see it as, okay, I just missed a big lift. And that's what separates, or a big mental shift between someone who's experienced and someone who's novice. But there is no reason why you can't take on that mindset now if you're a novice lifter and apply it. Like, you miss an attempt, okay, cool, I missed the attempt, I've got another one. Or if you missed the 3rd attempt, you're like, okay, I missed it, I've got to go back and work a little bit harder to make sure I don't do it again. Don't get in your head about it. The best lifters are the ones who are able to miss a lift and then come back even stronger. I'm going to use, who should I use? Well, Josie's a great example, actually. Like, she missed her first 2 attempts, hit her 3rd, then only missed, then smashed her bench press and did well on her deadlifts as well. I'm trying to think of another lifter who did well. Nathan is someone who I had to have this exact conversation with. Had a really good day apart from his deadlifting, where again, you know, I think he was meant to open at 145, and like, he had been smashing it in the gym, moved it like it was nothing, looked like an opener, beautiful. Walked up on the day, I don't think this one was nerves, I think it was just excitement, like he just loves deadlifting. He just walked up to his opener of 145, didn't get in position correctly, and then got it to his knees and just couldn't fucking move it anymore, right? Came off and was just, it fucking hit him like a dump truck, right? Because he was super nervous, his whole mentality had changed. Before squats and bench press, he was like dancing around. Even before deadlifts, he was kind of like dancing around, G'ing himself up. He hit that form, I just noticed a switch in him. He was just like really fucking nervous after that. And all I had to say to him, I was like, dude, you just missed the attempt, right? You've got 2 more attempts to complete this in. You were super excited walking up. You kind of got too excited. You know, you have to sit there and understand that this is still powerlifting. It's still heavy weights. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just go in there and know how to execute. Have the intent of being completely focused on the day. It comes back to being switched on before you walk on the platform. You should. I know a lot of people like to be mad when they walk up to the platform. It's kind of like that stigma that comes with powerlifting. I personally don't anymore. I used to. I fucking used to. Leading into my competition in 2020, I was all about the fucking G up, West Side barbell, spit on the barbell, bleed, fucking all that shit. Learned my lesson real quick. I'm super calm when I walk out to the platform now, and it's helped me. And that's what I try to stay at my lifters. I try to keep them super fucking calm, unless they just want to be a G'd up person, and I'll G them up as long as that's going to work for them. But if you ever miss an attempt, you just missed it. You just missed a heavy weight. Cool. So what? You got another attempt. Go do it again. That calm. It's almost like, is that it, Jack? And it's like, yeah, that's it. You just, the reality is you just missed the attempt. It's not the end of the world. Your mum didn't die. You didn't get your dick chopped off. You just missed the attempt. Calm down. You got another chance. Go sit down, breathe, get yourself back in the zone. Watch whatever you need to on your phone, talk to whoever you need to, say whatever you need to in your head. Just don't get on top of yourself about it. You just missed a lift. Who cares? Go out and execute next time. Walks out on a second attempt, boom, nails it. And then by the third attempt, like, you know, you see it at deadlifts all the time. You know, the third deadlift attempt, you give them something that, you know, I think we were going for the 400. We were going for the 400 kilos. So I gave him, I think 152.5, and he missed it just above the knees. All right, we've got to go back to the gym and get stronger. That's what it is. That's just what powerlifting's telling you. That is what the weight is telling you, that you are a little bit not strong enough to lift that fucking weight right now. Deal with it. Like, just see it from that reality. And if you understand that lifting, and especially powerlifting, is not a sprint, you have to treat it like a marathon, in the sense of it is a long-term game, then you will understand that there will always be another competition. There will always be areas that you will need to improve on, and you just look at a competition as a way to test your strength. Like, I've got a new lifter in the gym at the moment. He's like, oh, I want to compete in like August, and I'm like, you are nowhere near ready for August, by the way, pal. But maybe at the end of the year. He's like, oh, okay, so when should I test my 1 rep maxes? And I was like, at competition, because that's when you're competing. Because, like, don't wind me up, go home, you annoy me. But you know what I mean? It's those. You should just see competition, if you're a novice lifter, as a way of just testing your 1 rep max and enjoying powerlifting. I think that is maybe the message, or part of the message, that I want to get across today. Is if you're a novice lifter, make sure that that first, second or third competition that you do is just like, it also adds a really good element of fun in it. You could be someone who's slightly different as well, in the sense of like, you're competitive, and I fucking love those people, bring those people to me all day. But I also know that just, like, if it's going to be competitive, it also has to have an element of fun to it. You've got to make sure, especially if you're new to the sport and you want to be in it for a long time, because you won't be able to add 50 kilos to your total. That's another thing about fucking novice lifters. They fucking make so many huge jumps leading into comp, because they've never really done a structured training cycle of hypertrophy, strength, peak, compete. And they make these huge jumps in competition. They think that they'll just add like 50, 60 kilos to their total, and then they're down about adding 20 kilos or 30 kilos to their total. And I'm like, oh my God, like, no, you just added 20, 30 kilos to your total. What about if I took 20 or 30 kilos away from your total? They're like, no, don't do that, give me that back. And I'm like, well then, you'd be fucking great for your 20, 30 kilos. But you have to, you know, make sure you have that element of fun inside of it, so that you come back. I'm all for, one of the hardest things in powerlifting, right, is keeping people in it for a long time. I think the attrition rate, if I'm going to use my business language, for, you know, people in powerlifting who compete, and then they compete once or twice, maybe even 3 times, and then they're gone forever. That bugs the shit out of me. And one of my goals, as you know, a powerlifting gym owner, is to keep things exciting for my lifters, keep it competitive, but also educate them, and especially novice lifters, educate them, or intermediate lifters, educate them around the fact of, once you get to a certain point, it's just work. It's just like, it just becomes work. Like, find the enjoyment in it somewhere. Whatever it is for you, it can be, it's normally down to the individual where they find the excitement from. Make sure they have a level of competitiveness, because if you want to compete in the sport of powerlifting, it's a fucking competition. You have to be competitive. Well, that's my opinion anyway. But you have to understand that it is a long-term game, and it is just work on work on work. It's about understanding, you know, and this is where I think I have a big belief in most lifters, and I do, and I'm at a lot of my lifters with this thought process, is you can't just be reliant on your coach knowing everything. Like, you should have the want to go out and learn stuff from yourself, by yourself, and then talk to your coach about it. Like, understand what periodization is. That would be the first thing. If you are a novice lifter or someone who is listening right now and doesn't understand what periodization is, I will do a bloody post about it. Or maybe, I'll probably post actually. I might do a YouTube video about that one, so keep out for that on YouTube. But until I do that, whilst you're listening right now, I would advise you to go onto, what are they called? Juggernaut Training Systems? I think it's Juggernaut Training Systems. And just go onto their website and type in periodization, or go into Google periodization Juggernaut Training Systems for powerlifters, and understand what periodization is, and then just look at the nice big gap that they have between competition to competition. And that it just becomes, between comps, it's just work. It's picking up on weak points. It's understanding where to get stronger in, how to get stronger in, and just building. But I won't go into that too much because I can literally feel my like geekiness coming out and wanting to talk about it. But I have one more final point to talk about today. Is teams are so fucking important in powerlifting. Oh my God. I remember wrapping 2 people's knees at comp, and they were one after the other. And it's hard wrapping knees, right? It is hard wrapping knees because you've got to put some effort into it. And I got up to look like that. They both went out one after another. I think I just finished wrapping the second person's knees, and a guy who I know walked up to me and he was like, "Fuck, your face is red." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm puffing." And then I look over at the back to where the squat racks are, and I see 3 of my lifters warming up for squats in the 3rd flight. And then I just see Bailey and Dane over there. And I'm like, thank fuck you guys are over there. Because it makes, imagine like, no, one coach cannot handle 7 lifters by themselves. I would have been an absolute mess. I already like was soaking through my shirt just after fucking like the flight B. And I only had Josie in flight A and then 3 dudes in flight B, and I only had to wrap 2 of them. I was like soaked through my shirt because you're running around all the time. Like, you know, just because Josie's lifting, I'm not sitting right next to her in flight A. I'm looking over at my flight B crew and going, okay, cool. Like, know when your last attempts are. And as a lifter, the last thing that you want is to be like adding more to what you already have to think about. Like for me personally, and you know, inside the culture we got here, I just want my lifters to execute on the day. So all I want is to have as many fucking handlers as I can there, like helping them out. Like we had more handlers there than what we needed to. On the day, right, we had 7 lifters and we had 6 handlers. They weren't there for the whole day. Most of them were just like two out of the 6. 2 of them stayed for squats because that was obviously people needing their knees wrapped. It's very busy during that time. But outside of that, there was myself. No, I'm part of that 6 as well. And then 3 others were there for the full day, and that was Bailey, Jax, and Dan. And those guys were tremendous. Like you just, as someone who's got like those, you know, that many lifters on the day, so fucking thankful to have people who know what they're doing around the back. And the only way you know how to do things as a handler is to get around the back and just get involved with it. Just finishing cider. Yeah, like the great example is like with Jax and Josie. Another great example was Bailey. He is the guy that I'm like, Bailey, just know when people's next attempts are. And Bales is just all over that. He's just back and forth from the screen going, all right, this person's up in 5, this person's up in 7, this person's got 9, you know. And then I remember so many times, you know, I've got flight C at the front, and I'm looking after people who are warming up in the back, and Bailey's like, oh, so-and-so's up now, so I'm fucking running over to the front and jumping out there and, you know, geeing them up. As soon as I'm done, I'm running back out, and in my head I know that Bells is going to shout me when my next lift is up. And then the same thing goes for Dane during squat, bench and deadlifts, I'm pretty sure. You know, he's got his phone out and he's walking up to me and he's fucking asking me, okay, you know, what's this person's opener? What do you want their last attempt to be? When do you want their last attempt to be? And he's writing it all down in his phone. So I know, as the coach, I'm like, cool, Dane's all over it at the back. Like, he's all over it with the squat, bench and deadlift crews, the people that he's handling. He knows when I want their last attempts done, he's going to keep an eye on the board, he knows all the weights are, he knows how to load and unload, and he just knows how to handle himself in the back. And as a coach, you cannot put a fucking price on that, because it's so important. Like, people call it a team sport. I kind of agree and disagree with that for different, inside different areas, but it's certainly a team sport when it comes to like handlers and, you know, relying on your community. But it's not, maybe we're not even relying on my community. I don't even have to rely on them. I just know fucking every git will want to be there anyway, because they train in teams, so they want to go to competition in teams. Most of the time, here's a fucking funny story actually. We're leading into competition, and I hear all these people have got handlers. Oh, so-and-so's my handler, so-and-so's my handler. And I'm going, hold on a minute, who the fuck's put me down? Like, I'm the coach. I need to be put down as a fucking handler. I'm not even down as a handler yet. Someone put me down. And I remember talking to like 3 people. I think it was on like a Wednesday bench night, and they were like, oh no, I've got so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna have to message someone now about putting me down as a handler, because the last thing I want is to try to get in and no fuckers put me down as a handler. So that's how many people like to get to competitions. Particular lifters like particular handlers, do you know what I mean? So it was like, I love that. I really love and admire that side of things when it comes to powerlifting and the Blackdam crew, just because they just get around each other. I mean, I think it's also because that most of us, like most powerlifters, don't have a life. We work, train and eat, and that's it. Tell me if I'm wrong. You know, we masturbate every now and again, but probably most days, but you know, most of us don't really have much of a life. So it's nice on a Saturday or a Sunday to go to competition. You get to hang out with your friends, you get to see people lift some heavy fucking weight. Excellent. So those are a couple of those are my lessons from busting up. The crew, I decided not to go in depth with, there you go. I tend not to go into, I don't want to go into too much deep individual detail, because I spoke to my lifters before. You guys don't really need to know the ins and outs, but those overhanging lessons, I hope if you're a novice novice competitor, or you've struggled with some of these scenarios in the past, I've been able to help you, you know, think about things and think about what you'll do better next time. If you do need any help, obviously Blackdam is always looking for new powerlifters, new strength lifters who want to, you know, dabble in powerlifting, or they just want to get strong as fuck. But I will leave that there today. I am away on holiday. I'm going on holiday next week for a whole week. I decided to book it. We got Capo States this weekend. I've got 2 lifters competing in that, and another one who trains at Blackdam as well, competing this weekend. And then I'm going away for a week. I cannot wait, just before, because I know, you know, like, you just know when you feel it in your guts that the rest of the year is going to be super fucking busy. Like, you can anticipate something's coming. I'm anticipating it, and there's a lot of things going on with Blackdam. I got another business that I'm starting up, which again, fucking, oh, fingers crossed will be starting soon. It's been like walking through mud up to my pissing neck. But that's going to be starting soon. I've got a few other little bits and bobs I need to sort out, plus competitions on top of that, plus keeping, like, you know, my lifters like at the highest level. Like, it's a lot going on. So I'm going away for a week. I'm going to have some time away, some jack time. I reckon most of my holiday is going to be sleeping. I genuinely do. Like, most of the times when people want to be like, let's go to the beach, they go to the beach, and I see those lot running down to the ocean. I'm like, fuck that, I'm going for a snooze. And I just sleep most of the time. So I reckon I'm going to get a lot of sleeping done. I don't know where I'm going yet. I still ain't even decided. I'm going to be going away like next week, and it's Monday morning, Monday afternoon as we're talking now. I still don't know where I'm going, but I'll sort that out. But anyway, I will catch you guys in a fortnight's time. You can catch me on my social medias, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you share this on your social medias. I do literally, I measure this stuff, and I get 3 times the amount of views when you guys share it. So you guys have a huge impact on how many people listen to this. And if you've got something out of it, just quickly press the share button, put it on your gram, put it on, tag Blackdam, tag me as well if you know me on my personal social medias. I can never remember my tagline. And, you know, put it out there, because you guys literally 3x my listeners every single week. So I appreciate you all. I will speak to you guys when I'm back. Enjoy the rest of your week.